It's the end of an era as Vince McMahon has finally retired from the WWE. However, what does this mean for the company McMahon elevated to the top of the wrestling world? Well, join us now as we look at why the WWE is changing forever as it's now the end of an era. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. Vince McMahon officially retired from WWE on Wednesday 18th July, but the announcement was not made until after the stock market closed on Friday 20th July. As I approach 77 years old, I feel it's time for me to retire as chairman and CEO of WWE. Throughout the years, it's been a privilege to help WWE bring you joy, inspire you, thrill you, surprise you, and always entertain you. I would like to thank my family for mightily contributing to our success, and I would also like to thank all of our past and present superstars and employees for their dedication and passion for our brand. Most importantly, I would like to thank our fans for allowing us into your homes every week and being your choice of entertainment. I hold the deepest appreciation and admiration for our generations of fans all over the world who have liked, currently like, and sometimes even love our form of sports entertainment. The WWE Board of Directors convened an emergency meeting on 22nd July. As Fightful Select reported, a mass message went out to those within WWE from Vince McMahon announcing the news. There had been heavy moves made within WWE and we're told to expect more. Change isn't coming, it's here. Changes have already been made as the WWE has announced that interim CEO Stephanie McMahon will now be taking on a permanent position alongside current WWE President Nick Khan. Stephanie and Nick Khan are now official co-CEOs of the WWE. There's some immediate ramifications. The public should expect some immediate ramifications as the WWE deals with the effects of this earth-shattering announcement. The first was Brock Lesnar being pissed off. One immediate effect is that Brock Lesnar is angry. Figure 4 Online's Brian Alvarez reports from several sources Brock Lesnar has left SmackDown. What this means for SummerSlam is anyone's guess, but if Lesnar walks out on the WWE, it'll leave the company in a bad position for its upcoming 30th July premium event. According to a report from Wrestling News, the WWE is hopeful that Lesnar can be brought back, but if not, they're considering bringing Bill Goldberg in. They have to project an image of stability. It's essential to remember that the general public is unlikely to see any major changes to the WWE for the following reasons. As number one, the WWE wants to preserve its stock price. The WWE wisely announced McMahon's retirement after the market closed, which doesn't preclude the stock from rising or falling, but which will minimize this until the market reopens. The WWE wants to have its shareholders, especially large ones with heavily invested in the WWE due to its stability during the pandemic. Number 2, Nick Khan has already made key changes. The WWE president and now co-CEO Nick Khan has made sweeping changes to the WWE's business infrastructure. These changes include trimming the WWE's wrestler roster, consolidating departments he saw as redundant, and trimming personnel he saw as redundant, and replacing long-term staff with personally selected people. And number 3, Vince McMahon has already made key changes. While this is speculation, it's likely Vince McMahon has already made key changes as seen by the recent return of Stephanie McMahon as interim CEO and board chairwoman, as well as the return of Paul Levesque aka Triple H as executive vice president of talent relations. This provides the WWE with internal stability until the company decides about its overall future. What about stock prices? One of the most interesting ramifications will be if and how the WWE stock is affected. Obviously, stock will go down a little as investors try to ascertain what the future holds for WWE. While we're not dispensing financial advice, it's important to recall past stories where investors perceived Vince McMahon as the driving force behind the WWE's success creatively. While some fans would dispute this, as long as investors think Vince is irreplaceable, it's likely that the stock will go down. How much is anyone's guess? At the same time, the WWE is creating an image that the multi-generational family business is still being run by the family, i.e. Stephanie and Triple H, with trusted president Nick Khan continuing to make the lucrative deals that have solidified the WWE stock. What about the long-term ramifications? First, looking at McMahon's machinations. One of the biggest questions is whether Vince McMahon is actually stepping down. Vince has retired, but with his daughter and son-in-law heavily involved, who's to say what family dinner conversation won't involve Vince's thoughts on creative? As we noted during the early weeks of McMahon's hush money scandal, Vince could still decide about creative decisions or even business decisions in an unofficial capacity. Now, we're not claiming that Vince McMahon will do so, but we are exploring what could happen if he chooses to try and influence the WWE's creative and/or business activities. Whether McMahon attempts to influence his company covertly, the powers that be have the ability to shut him out, and depending on the outcome of the investigation into the various non-disclosure agreements he made with females, allegedly including at least one wrestler and an employee, if the investigation reveals the allegations are true, the WWE will have to try and distance itself from McMahon or risk being seen as ignoring bad acts. I may recall that someone leaked the story of the WWE Board of Directors' investigation into Vince to the Wall Street Journal. This makes it likely that someone would leak a story of Vince continuing or attempting to exert influence. Again, this would be detrimental to the company's perception that it's taken the allegations seriously. But what about creative? How could we see a big shift there? As fascinating as the business ramifications are, fans are likely more concerned with what this means for the in-ring product. It's safe to say that the WWE product has grown stale with more than a few fans, as seen by the decrease in ratings and ticket sales. With Vince McMahon gone from creative, and we'll go with the notion that Vince is indeed stepping down, both officially and unofficially, with Vince gone, can fans start singing Happy Days are here again? Now, the good news is that the WWE has two brilliant wrestling minds in place to take over in the creative department, the first being the Heyman Hustle. Paul Heyman's influence on SmackDown, particularly in the booking of Roman Reigns, has been noted for some time. As fans know, Heyman was made executive director of creative, but rumor has it that many of his creative proposals were ultimately nixed by Vince McMahon, leading him to leave the position. With McMahon gone, the WWE has a great opportunity to allow Heyman to book all of SmackDown and do what he tried to do during his short-lived run as executive director, trying to build new stars and create compelling storylines to keep existing fans and bring in new fans. Fans expecting an ECWS product shouldn't hold their breath, but fans should see an edgier product and one that is less insulting to their intelligence. Number 2, Triple H runs Raw. Well, the WWE Universe has long wondered what things would be like if Triple H ran things creatively on the main roster, and they could get their wish. Whatever Triple H's ultimate role is, he has the trust of rookies and veterans alike, which should make his job easier. Although, like any workplace, there will be disgruntled workers. Triple H received acclaim by NXT fans and wrestlers for his creative vision on the former Black and Gold brand, and while Helmsley could return to NXT, his talents will be better utilized on the Red brand. Although the WWE does have the option of letting Paul Heyman run both shows and coordinate them. While the WWE will likely continue capitalizing on the value of older talent like Edge, AJ Styles and Randy Orton, Triple H would likely build new stars from young talent and hoping to bring younger viewers. Or could we see the end of the brand split? Fans are unlikely to see an official end to the brand split as long as Raw and SmackDown air on separate networks, but fans should expect to see continued crossovers from the two shows. Also, the return of 2 World Championships. It's also likely that fans will see the return of 2 World Championships, both for the men's singles title and the men's tag team titles. Championships have value, and it's likely whoever runs the creative department will implement these changes at some point to capitalize on their value for each brand. What about staff changes? There are any number of other possible changes, including the retirement or dismissal of long-tenured employees like Kevin Dunn and Bruce Pritchard, Vince's yes men. These employees may last in the short term, but you can be sure that new management team will be reviewing their long-term value to the WWE. Ultimately, what about selling the WWE? Perhaps the saddest thought is that the WWE would be sold. There's been talk of selling the company for several years, and the board of directors may pursue this option. This will depend on Vince McMahon since he still maintains control through his stock. But what if Vince has had enough? But there you have it, folks. I'll look at an end of an era and how this could change WWE forever. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.